There is a sound that silence makes when something is about to break. You know it, you have heard it in a room before an argument, in the sky before a storm, in your own chest before a decision you cannot take back. May 2026. The news cycle is loud, but underneath the noise, something went quiet, and the quiet is louder than anything being said. A whistleblower died, a pastor went viral, a strait caught fire, and the market hit a number that means nothing while its insides rotted. This is not a story about what happened. This is a story about what stopped happening and why. Matthew James Sullivan, 39 years old, United States Air Force veteran, top secret security clearance. He was scheduled to testify before Congress about classified programs involving unidentified aerial phenomena. He never testified. May 4, 2026. Found dead. Cause of death, accidental drug overdose. Case closed before the week ended. I am not going to tell you he was murdered. I do not have evidence of that. No one does. That is the point. What I am going to tell you is this. Across 70 years, every person who was scheduled to deliver classified testimony about non-human technology to a public body either delivered that testimony and was discredited or did not deliver it at all. The mechanism of prevention varies. The outcome does not. Sullivan is not an anomaly. Sullivan is the pattern continuing. 3 days after Sullivan's death, a televangelist named Perry Stone went viral. He claimed that United States government officials held a classified briefing with a group of pastors. The content of that briefing: prepare your congregations, disclosure is coming. The nature of what will be disclosed involves non-human intelligence. The man who was going to testify is dead. The men who were told to prepare are speaking. That is not contradiction. That is sequencing. The system does not suppress truth. It suppresses uncontrolled timing. Perry Stone's claim is unverified. No named officials. No identified state. No government memorandum. A televangelist on a podcast saying words that cannot be confirmed or denied. And that is exactly how managed revelation works. If you are a government managing the release of information that will restructure the belief systems of 3 billion people, you do not hold a press conference. You do not publish a paper. You brief the intermediaries, the pastors, the therapists, the community leaders, the people who will be in the room when someone's worldview collapses. This is not new. This is how every controlled demolition of consensus reality has been managed in the modern era. You prepare the first responders before you detonate. May 3rd. The President of the United States says the Pentagon will release new UAP information. He calls it very interesting. He says very soon. May 4th. Sullivan is dead. May 5th. Stone's claim goes viral. May 8th. Dr. Stephen Greer holds a press conference at the National Press Club, 25th anniversary of the 2001 disclosure briefing. New witnesses, new evidence. June 12th. Steven Spielberg releases a film called Disclosure Day, described by those who have seen it as more truth than fiction. You are not watching a series of unrelated events. You are watching a release schedule, and someone on that schedule died before his slot. May 5th, 2026. The S&P 500 closes at 7,270, all-time high. The Nasdaq closes at 25,114, all-time high. Every headline says the same thing: record market, strongest rally since 2020. Now look underneath. New 52-week highs on the New York Stock Exchange fell from 187 to 4 in 5 trading days. More stocks declined than advanced. The rally is being carried by 7 companies. 7 out of 500. The other 493 are not participating. They are declining while the index climbs. This has a name. It is called a divergence, and every major market top in the last century was preceded by one. Credit spreads are at 25-year tights. The bond market is pricing in a world where nothing can go wrong. No recession, no default, no surprise. The VIX sits at 16, complacency measured and quantified. Meanwhile, the Strait of Hormuz is on fire. A president whose term ended is being replaced by a man who promised regime change at the Federal Reserve. Inflation is 3.3% and rising, and no rate cuts are expected this year. The market is not wrong. The market is not lying. The market is showing you what a system looks like when it has decided not to price reality. When the surface is maintained by 7 names while everything beneath it deteriorates. That is not strength. That is the silence before a sound that will be very, very loud. February 28, 2026. Following the assassination of Iran's supreme leader during Operation Epic Fury, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps mined the Strait of Hormuz. 40% of the world's seaborne oil transits this corridor. It is 21 miles wide at its narrowest. It was closed. April 7th. A ceasefire was declared, extended indefinitely. The market exhaled. Oil retreated. The crisis was over. May 4th. The United States launched Project Freedom, a military escort operation to guide merchant vessels through the strait. Iran responded with 15 missiles and 4 drones, a direct hit on the UAE's Fujairah oil facility. Fire confirmed. The U.S. sank 6 Iranian small boats. Both sides claimed victory. Both sides called it a warning shot. The ceasefire technically holds. Iran submitted a 14-point peace proposal. Trump said the terms were unacceptable. The strait remains functionally closed. Only 2 merchant vessels have successfully transited the U.S. guarded corridor. This is not a war. This is not a ceasefire. This is the physical infrastructure of the petrodollar being stress-tested in real time. The meter that ran the world for 80 years, control the energy corridor, control the global economy, is being contested not by ideology, but by geography and will. In Season 5, we talked about meters cracking. This is what a meter looks like when it cracks in physical space. Not a policy change. Not a vote. Fire on water. Ships turning around. The world's energy supply rerouting itself in real time because one 21-mile corridor is no longer safe, and the market priced none of it. Here is what is happening in the same 10-day window. A whistleblower scheduled to testify about non-human intelligence is dead. A pastor is telling millions that the government briefed clergy on disclosure. The president teases a file release. A press conference at the National Press Club is 3 days away. A military corridor in the world's most important strait is under active fire. The Federal Reserve is 10 days from a leadership transfer that was described as regime change. And the stock market is at an all-time high carried by 7 companies while 493 decline. This is not a conspiracy. Conspiracy implies coordination. What is happening is structural. Multiple systems built on controlled information are losing that control simultaneously. The disclosure system cannot hold its secrets because too many people touch the files. The financial system cannot hold its narrative because the math beneath the surface contradicts the surface. The energy system cannot hold its choke point because the world found the choke point's price. The spiritual system cannot hold its monopoly on meaning because something is coming that none of its frameworks predicted. And the silence you feel, the one between the anomalies popping up and the world responding, that is the system deciding. Not whether to release the truth, whether it can survive the timing. Season 5 was called The Shift. We documented 5 meters cracking. Season 6 is called The Fracture. We are documenting what happens after the cracks connect. A man is dead. A pastor is talking. A strait is burning. A market is lying. And something, not someone, something is applying pressure to every gate at once. The silence is not absence. The silence is the sound of a system deciding whether to break all at once or one piece at a time. You already know which one it chose. You felt it. The quiet is louder than anything being said.